Alright, so we got this pile in the shop. It's a Jeep. I said this wasn't going to be a Ford channel after the EcoBoost, and now we have a Mopar in my shop. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know anything about Jeeps. I'm not a Jeep guy. I don't like Jeeps at all. But it does have an LS, which I do like and I know a little bit about. So allegedly it's a 04 Tahoe engine, and somebody started swapping it. They had the motor mounts done, or the engine and trans in, the motor mounts were on, the transmission was just laying on the cross member, and it had the ECU, and I believe this harness is something off eBay or something. I've got to dig into it and try to figure that out. I'm thinking that this is keyed power for the relay for my keyed power, and then it has a couple constant powers. I have not found the wires that go to the transmission, because originally it had a turbo 350 in it, and they had an np241 GM transfer case in the back. So you don't need transmission control with a turbo 350. I talked my cousin into going with a 4L60, so then at least the thing will be somewhat drivable, have overdrive, lockup converter, and just be a lot better off. Plus, we don't know the condition of the turbo 350, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I was like, look, if we're gonna have to build front and rear drive shafts and go through all this time and trouble and work, to get everything done, I said, let's do it right the first time, and let's go ahead and, I hate to say it, but put a 4L60 in it. So, which is, is better than a turbo 350. So when I got the truck in here, I pulled the 350 out, and it was slam full of water. So they had everything in the truck, but they didn't have the dipstick tube in, which I don't know why they didn't have the dipstick tube in, but they didn't. So the transmission was full of water, and my cousin said when he was pulling it on the trailer that he saw water running out of the output shaft on the transmission. So anyway, good thing that we decided to go ahead and have a 60 built. My transmission guy already had one building for me from early in December, so I just called him and said, hey, let's change that two-wheel drive 60 to a four-wheel drive 60. And he was like, oh, okay, good thing you called. I had it all apart and was about to get it back together tomorrow. So he was able to get that done for me. I got it under here. And then the np241 has what they call a slip yoke eliminator kit, which exactly how it sounds. Instead of a normal slip yoke, it gets rid of that whole output tail housing and puts a 1310 CV yoke. So they claim, or they say, or it does, shortens the transfer case up like 11 inches. So which is a good thing, because from the output on the transfer case to the pinion on the rear end is about 20 inches. So it would have been a real short drive shaft without that slip yoke eliminator thing. So it does have an 8.8 Ford, I do know that. It looks like it has some kind of suspension and stuff on it. Again, I don't know about Jeeps, nor do I care, but I know that my cousin had another Jeep one years ago, a yellow one, similar. I guess all Jeeps look alike, right? But it looked like this, and it was yellow, and it was an anemic little 4-cylinder. So I'm proud of him. He's stepped up into the big boy stuff with an LS V8 swap one. So it's got a lot of rust under it. I thought it was a C10 and kept having bad flashbacks. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to fix this one. So I got over it, moved on, and I think he said the frame has been swapped. Apparently these are bad with rust as the C10s are, which is surprising to me because this is like I assume this is like a late 90s, 2000 type truck. I don't know. But, I mean, for it to be that new and have all that rust, I mean, bad rust, and then, you know, at least that's a 70, so it's, you know, has quite a few years jump on having rust growth. But this thing, like I say, I'm just kind of surprised at all the rust I saw on it while I was doing the transmission. So like the tub and stuff, and then you can see that's the 1310 CV output off the case, and then I do have to finish building the mount. I actually have it on the ground because I was getting measurements. There's the front drive shaft. So the front drive shaft ended up being about 40 inches long, I believe. So this is I assume this is the Chevrolet one that came with the transfer case. So I just was using it for mock-up for my measurements, and because the belly pan or cross member / belly pan thing, I was concerned about the drop angle of the shaft hitting that pan, so I had it up in there and was trying to get some measurements and the angle and everything. So, but I talked to Mike about it, and he's actually having cataract surgery today on one eye, and then he'll be having the other eye done next week. So that's going to put him out for a couple weeks. So I told him, you know, it's no rush. I've got plenty to do on this thing in the meantime. So I've got to build the exhaust. I've got to finish wiring it. I've got to do the fuel system, which I'm actually about to start on. I had pulled the tank out last night, was trying to figure out how their pump systems and stuff work. So I think we're good to go. I got it figured out, I hope. And today, so what I plan on doing is trying to get the fuel system in there and done. And it's always a good idea to fill your tank full of gas before you plan on parking it for 10 years. I mean, it's the best thing you can do. I don't know why people do that. Because now it's old dead gas. So I'll have to drain that. Or just let the 5.3 eat it, you know. It'll probably love it. So anyway, it's not a bad project, I guess. It's got a nice radiator. It's got 2 fans. They already had the hoses cobbled together and figured out somewhat. And I don't know. I mean, I guess, you know, with some projects, you kind of get to a point where you're tired of working on them and don't want to go anymore. So maybe that's where this guy was with it. And apparently had been trying to sell it for a while. So he and my cousin were able to work a deal, and he brought it up here to me. So I'm going to get rid of the return style rail and put a returnless, the newer rail on it. And I have over here, so then just a feed to it, and then we got this little kit that has some fittings and hoses, and then a vet style regulator and everything. So that's what I plan on using to try to get the fuel system plumbed today. And then then the wiring. So got to figure that out. Like I say, I'm not familiar with this harness, how it's been done. So I'm going to try to had some paperwork with it. So I know I'm going to have to run the wires to the fuel pump, and then hopefully it should just be just keyed power to here, and then we got our main power wires at the battery, and then hook up all my grounds. I think everything else is plugged in. So I think this is Jeep stuff. So and from what I understand from the comments from you guys, is apparently Jeep was as bad as Ford with changing wire colors from year to year. So I guess that'll be tough considering I don't know what year it is. Let's see. Okay, it says 97 on the hood. So, okay, well, I thought it was a little newer than that, but 97, so there you go. At least the hood's 97. We know that much. So, and then it'll be drive-by-wire. So I think, yeah, it had a tack module in there and had a couple different pedals. So hopefully they like each other and will talk, because we know how much I love drive-by-wire and how much fun it is to try to get everything. It does look like a newer throttle body on it. And this is a custom intake. It's a high flow deal. So you just got to be careful going through the mud. It doesn't suck water through it, but it's a sock filter. Typically they go over conical filters, but that's how they did that one. And then it's got a shifter. I found a shifter in it, so I'll have to get the shifter in, because this was yep, it's got 3 pedals. So this was I think it was a 4.0 5-speed truck. So here's my pedal down here, and then there's the shifter I found in here. So I'll have to hook up the transfer case linkage, and then here's the gauges. So these, oh wow, they do say Jeep on them, don't they? Jeep. If it's anything like other Mopars, I bet these were very expensive, because they say Jeep. So my cousin wants to use this, and he wants to use this. So I'm gonna try to make his dreams come true and try to get this to work for him, even though I don't want to. But I mean, I guess it'll look better than the stock one here. So, oh, and it has a bunch of switches. Good grief! It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 switches on the thing there. I mean, I guess I don't even need keyed wires or anything under here. I can just make everything with switches. You got to push a switch for everything to work. But I guess this box thing has something to do with all those switches, because it's got these big heavy wires and circuit breakers on it. So I don't know what it is. MLC multiple light controllers from Rough Country. So I guess if you want to run them 6 lights, you can run them. But anyway, that's the update on the Jeep project. Like I say, just trying to do what I can with it. And like I said, the big step was trying to get everything together to measure for the drive shafts. But, you know, now the thing is, he's going to be delayed because of his surgery. But like I say, I still have plenty to do. I've got my work cut out for me on it. So it's going to be fun building an exhaust for this thing, because they got these block hugger style headers that come together and turn down right here. But he got a new dipstick tube, because apparently people have problems with those and break them. So I got a brand new oil dipstick tube, and then I had a dipstick tube for the 60, so I got it in there, and it's nice and sturdy and everything. So I don't know why you would put a transmission in and leave the dipstick hole open if it's going to be sitting, because like I say, that transmission, I hope it's not rurned, but it probably is. You can see it right there, but it was like muddy looking water. So, but anyway, it's a turbo 350, who cares, right? So anyway, that's it for now.